Yo, what is up, guys? I hope that all of you are doing absolutely amazing. I figured I would do this video a little bit different. It's no secret to you guys that most of my videos are highly edited and scripted. I figured it'd be kind of nice just to kind of chill and talk with you guys about some stuff. So for this video, I figured I would talk about controls because I see a lot of people talking about them, and I see some people saying some good stuff and some bad stuff, some stuff that I agree with and some stuff that I don't really agree with. So first, let's talk about what they can and what they can't do for you. This is more so about all settings than just controls necessarily, but I just want to say that whatever settings you're using, no settings are going to make you better at the game. No settings going to make you a better player. They can't do that. Only you can do that with practicing. What they can do is make you more comfortable, which can make you play better, but it can't make you better, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. I probably sound like an idiot, but that's okay. I get asked a lot in the comments and on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/cadence. You should follow me because when I do stream, it's great. Yo, what are your camera settings? What are dead zone settings? What sensitivities do you use? What controls do you use? And I understand people's curiosity, but everybody really has like their own settings that work for them. So I'm gonna go through mine and we'll talk about them, and I'll tell you why my settings are how they are, and I'll give you some baselines and some thoughts on certain settings and what you could be using. Maybe not so much what you should be using, but where you could start. So let's just look at my settings. Gameplay settings, none of these matter. These are your network settings. These kind of matter, but for this, I recommend watching Halfway Dead's video. I'll link that because that video is amazing, and that's why I have this on STS. I actually don't know the difference between them, but in the video he says that one, so he's smarter than I am, so I listened to him. Camera settings. All right, this is the one that everybody likes to talk about. What's your camera settings? What camera settings are you using? My settings are very basic. I'm pretty sure these are almost identical to Squishy's and Justin's settings. They're very, very similar to this. I've used these settings for a long time, ever since I really started playing. I switched to some that are different. I've tried zero stiffness. I've tried high stiffness. I've tried basically every combination you can think of. I just want to say for these settings, no camera settings are really bad. I mean, there are some that you look at and you're like, wow, I really don't know how anybody would play with that, but I have a buddy who uses settings that are like this. I'm not joking. And he is a beast. He's top 100. He played in Johnny Boy's Fusion tournament. You may have seen him. His name's Gengar. And he's a monster. So if he can play with that and beat pros, then there's no excuse that these are not holding you back. You will not get better because you change the Squishy settings. You will not get better because you change the Justin settings. It's just not going to happen. Now, these are a pretty good baseline. If you want to switch to these and then adjust them yourself, like, oh, maybe it's a little bit too close, I'm going to back it out a little bit, or maybe it's too far away, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Everybody uses the same sort of camera settings, and it's really not necessary. I would say the ones that I've switched between is anywhere from between like 260, 290, 90 to 110, and then 5 to 3. Stiffness, I've used everything on the spectrum for stiffness. Anybody that doesn't know what stiffness is, basically it's how the camera sticks to your car. So if you have zero stiffness, you see how it gets really far away and then really close. But like whenever you wiggle your car, like it's very smooth and not tied to your car. But whenever you turn your stiffness up, it doesn't get any closer, any farther. Anytime you move your car, it sticks directly to your car. I used to use stiffness around here, and then I switched it to low, and I really didn't like that at all. And then I switched back to this, and then I switched it to max. And I used that for a while, and I thought that that would be better because it's technically more accurate. But what ends up happening is that whenever you're doing something like dribbling, I'll just show you. Whenever you're like dribbling the ball, your camera just moves so much that sometimes it gets hard to track. So if you lower that to something more like this, you see when you're dribbling, it's not as shaky. But these are really just, they're up to you, man. I mean, you can use these, like I said, as a base and then adjusting how you like. The only thing I would recommend is your field of view. Make sure that's high. It doesn't have to be 110. You can do like 107, 108, 109. But I would just recommend that be high, just so that way you can see more. And just a quick explanation for anybody that doesn't know what these settings are. Field of view, it's basically, I mean, it's exactly what it says. It's your FOV. It's in a lot of games. If you've played any game on PC, you know what your FOV is. It's just like how much you can see. Distance, how far away the camera is from your car. You can see it getting closer and further away. Height, obviously, up and down. angle is how the camera angles towards the car and towards the ground. You actually can't see it from there, but if I go here and then I stiffness, I already said how the camera sticks to your car. Swivel speed, that's how when you're moving your right stick, that's what that is. Very, very slow. And then we'll crank it up because I'm a savage. Awful. I hate that so much. Transition speed, that's your ball cam. I would not recommend turning this all the way up because it literally, that is just so jarring. I hate that so much. I know that there are people that do use it, but I do not like it at all. I can't use it. So yeah, those are my settings. These are very basic settings. There's a lot of people using settings like these, and I use these most of the time. And anytime you see me, I'm probably using settings that are like this, or maybe I'll adjust it, something like that, but they're always around here. All right, before we get onto like the actual controls, I want to talk about the interface settings. One thing I would recommend for everybody to do is they actually change it. You used to have to switch this. It used to be on nearby only by default, and then this is where they're always on. This is for your nameplates, so above the people's cars. You want those to always be on, but it's like that by default now, so that's fine. And nameplate scale. These are preference as well. These are just how big they are above people's heads. I like them to be pretty big. I might lower it though, because I've noticed whenever they're really big, sometimes it gets harder to tell how far away people are, but also when they're really small, they can get lost behind the ball. So I might mess with that. I turned off ball cam indicator just because I don't like it. I don't need it. I know when I got ball cam on and off. I got force default team colors on because I hate getting into a club match and then black and pink is the whole field and it just looks disgusting. All right, the controls. Like I said, no controls are going to make you better. It doesn't matter what you use for the most part. They just make you more comfortable. That's what you're really doing all the controls for. That's what you're changing all your settings for. It's just to make the game as comfortable as possible. So I've messed with the sensitivities a lot. I've tried all at 1. I've tried all at 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, 1.5, 1.75, 1.85. I've tried every combination you can think of. And what I've found is that I like the steering sensitivity low because when you wiggle the stick, it's a lot easier to dribble than whenever you have a high steering sensitivity because it jerks a lot. And so it gets kind of hard to dribble. But this really do not copy other people's sensitivities. Especially if you're going to copy anything, do not copy sensitivities because it really comes down to when you're making small adjustments, how much do you yourself move the stick? When I'm making small adjustments, I tend to move the stick a lot. So if I have a high sensitivity and I'm moving the stick a lot when I make a small adjustment, it's gonna be like, it's gonna sling me all over the field, and I don't want that. So I keep my steering sensitivity low because I feel like that helps with dribbling. But, and I didn't do this for a long time, I used to have extreme OCD about it, and I would never let these two be separate. But I always loved the way that the medium to high sensitivities felt in the air, but I hated the way they felt on the ground. Eventually, I actually saw that Forky does this, and I was like, well, if Forky could do it, maybe I should try it. And I did, and I loved it. It's actually amazing. So I separated them. Now I got the high sensitivity in the air, which I like, and then the extra control on the ground, which I love. So these are really preference. This is all about how it feels when you move the stick. So just play with these. Set them yourself. Just move them. Be like, all right, I'm gonna just jump by 0.1. I'm gonna try 1.1 and see how this feels. I'm gonna go to 1.5, see how that feels. Oh, that's too fast. I'm gonna switch it to 1.3, see how that feels. Oh, it's a little bit too fast. 1.25, oh, that's perfect. Just mess with it. It's really up to you. Controller dead zone. This is like how much area within the middle of your stick actually exists. Because if it's absolute 0, then that means if your stick moves at all, it's gonna register that. And if you have an older controller, or even a new controller, my brand new controller, when I bought it, I couldn't put it at 0. It's gonna drift. If you look, see how my car is turning a little bit? Look at that. So you don't want that. You want it as low as you can get it without that happening. So at 0.5, it's okay. But I've always used 0.1 because I used to have a really old controller that was beat up and it couldn't go below 0.1. So I've just got used to it. So basically just as low as you can get without stick drift. Dodge dead zone, again, this is all preference. I think Lethamyr uses like 0.9, and I know people that use like 0.3. I never really messed with this. I just put it at 0.7 and left it, and I got used to it. I mean, so if you're back flipping a lot, then maybe raise it a little bit. And if you're double jumping a lot, then maybe lower it a little bit. But really, you need to just pick one and stick with it, because that is more of a mechanical error than something wrong with the setting. That's not the setting causing you to do that. That's you causing you to do that because you're bad. And I would know, because I do that all the time. So I would just say pick something probably between 0.4 and 0.8, somewhere around there. It really doesn't matter. Just something, and then get used to it. Don't change it. Okay, for my actual controls. These, I would say, do matter a little bit more, just because these really determine how comfortable you are when you're playing. I'll actually have a little graphic on the screen that'll show you a map of my controls, and I'll go through each one and I'll tell you why I did these. So the basics, R2 and L2 are your drive, your left sticks, your move. Jump is X. Boost is R1. I moved it from circle to R1. I like that way better. It takes a little bit to get used to, because I know a lot of people don't like whenever they have their middle fingers on the triggers and their index fingers on the bumpers, or L1 and R1. I know a lot of people don't like that. They say it feels weird, and it is weird at first, but when you get used to it, it's totally fine, and it's a lot better, and it's really comfortable, and you free up buttons for yourself. So I got power slide and air roll on L1. There's a lot of people that do this. This is very common. The way that I look at my controls is I want to be able to do everything that I need to do without moving my hands at all. I don't have to adjust my fingers, not even a little bit, to do the things that I want to do. So I can be boosting and sliding with the ball, or I could be boosting and air rolling, and it's not even the same hands. I also switched ball cam from triangle to square. Now, why did I do that? Like I said, I want to be able to do everything without moving my fingers. I don't need to do gymnastics with my hands in order just to turn off ball cam. I can jump and hit ball cam at the same time with my thumb, which, I mean, I guess you can kind of do that with triangle, but it's a lot further away and it's just inconvenient. But with square, I can jump, hit ball cam, then flip into the ball, then hit ball cam again, or whatever it is that I need to do. I can fast aerial and hit ball cam at the same time, whatever it is I need to do. And I got arrow right and left on circle and triangle. I've been using these a lot more recently, but these aren't totally necessary. These are just more for comfort than anything. I mean, unless you use air roll to half flip, but I usually don't air roll when I half flip most of the time. But I've been using these a lot more for spinning in the air and stuff, but you really don't need to focus on these. These are just kind of there, unless you want to be a tornado spin god. Okay, so here's a weird one. Actually, I put my scoreboard up on the D-pad. I don't know why I do this, and I don't know what made me do this, because you can't map anything to the touchpad on PC. At least, not on Rocket League, I don't think. I don't know if you can on other games. And I don't like using the share button just because you got to push it really hard. So I just put it up on the D-pad, but sometimes I accidentally hit it twice and then I say I got it, and then my teammates just leave. They just like piece it back the net, and I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean to do that. So anybody I play with, they know. Anytime I say I got it, I probably don't actually have it. I'm just checking the scoreboard. So it's pretty stupid. I don't know why I do that, and I should probably change it, but that's what my scoreboard is. But you could just put that to share, or get rid of one of the air rolls if you wanted to and put it there. Voice chat, take off the button for voice chat. I didn't talk about that, but you want push to talk to be on, and then you want to get rid of the button. So you want it to be set to where it only does voice chat when you push the button for it, but you don't want to have the button for it. I actually had a problem with this where my game kept stuttering for some reason, and I didn't know why. And it turns out the voice chat button was the same button as my boost button, and every time I hit boost, it would do voice chat, and the voice chat would break my game. So every time I boosted, I dropped like 10 frames, and I could not figure out why. I was in my config files and everything, just freaking out trying to fix it, and it ended up just being that the voice chat, this game's a broken piece of trash. Another weird thing I do, because I'm actually mentally insane, is that I swap my comments and my reactions. This used to be left on the D-pad, this used to be right on the D-pad, and I swapped them. There's literally no reason for this. I don't know why I did that. For some reason in my head, I was like, left makes more sense for this, and I swapped them. I have zero idea why I would do that. I got reset shot for free play and stuff as triangle. I change that a lot sometimes too. Save replay, hold the share button. I mean, it's basic stuff. Use item, L3, because I'm a Rumble main. You guys know that. These are my controls, because a lot of people ask me, and like I said in the comments and on my Twitch, and I just wanted to let you guys know, because I made a video about this a while back, but none of you guys actually go back and watch my old videos, so I figured I'd just make a new one, that way you guys could see. And like I said, I really want to get the point across that the controls and the camera settings, they're all preference. Nothing is going to make you better at the game. Only you can make yourself better at the game. But what they will do is that they make the game more comfortable. And the more comfortable you are, I mean, it can make you play better. It won't make you better, but it can make you play better. It's all about comfort, so just use what is comfortable to you. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about how I did this video with less edits and more just kind of sitting here chilling and talking with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are all doing amazing. Much love. Peace.